Hey everybody, and welcome back to Third Age Reforged. My name is Jordan, also known as JMonster. I want to thank you guys for joining me for, you guessed it, Third Age Reforged Replay Battle. Today we're going to be playing on 0.96.1, and this is a battle drawn from the ongoing RP campaign on the official Third Age Discord. I believe it's in its kind of sundown stages, but if you guys are interested in joining the community and getting involved with the RP, I'm going to have a link, as always, for the Discord for the official Third Age Reforged team down below, and you guys can check that out at your leisure. But without any further ado, let's take a look at some of the army comps here. This is a very exciting battle, and it is, I'm going to preface this by saying, it's a river battle. So a lot, in fact, 90% of the action takes place around this little choke point right here. That being said, for a river battle, it is surprisingly fluid. There's a lot of push and pull, and it's just very entertaining to watch, and it's got a little bit of a surprise ending. So without any further ado, let's take a look at some of the army comps here. You can see what everybody's working with, and then we can jump into the replay itself. I hope you guys enjoy it. The first army we're going to look at today is one of the Misty Mountains armies. These guys are going to be on the defense today, as they are greatly outnumbered, which is a strange place for the Misty Mountains to be. But they are facing off against Isengard, and the Isengard has outnumbered them by one entire army. So it's going to be a tough fight for them, matching their quantity and the plethora of missile units that they can bring to bear against the quality and the more or less equal ranged firepower of the warriors of Isengard. But in any case, this army is commanded by Cannon Fodder, who sent the replay to me, so a big thank you to him for supporting the channel. He's brought some Blackback Mountain Berserkers and a bunch of Mountain Orc Berserkers as well. I think he's got two companies of them, and a crap ton of Snaga Skirmishers. 1, 2, 3, I think just 3 Snaga Skirmishers, and 2 Crossbowmen. I promise you that there would be a lot of Skirmishers, and indeed there is going to be. That's the only way that the Misty Mountains can possibly hope to come out of this on top. 2 heavy Goblin Halberds here, along with 1 unit of the White Uruk Fearmongers. Also got some Gobbo Infantry. I think there's some other hidden Gobbo Infantry around here as well, probably from his allies. Goblin King's Bodyguard, which fittingly is where the Goblin King is going to be hanging out, who also happens to look like Azog. I don't know why. I'm certain that will change in a patch a little bit later down the road. And then finally, got a Catapult here. Well, I suppose not finally, there's a couple other units. Cave Troll Drummers, Snow Trolls notable among them, and I don't think, oh no, he does have 1 unit of cavalry. What do you know? 1 company here of the Bolgs Champions. Let's move on now to one of his close allies. This is an army commanded by Mech FFA Muffins, one of our veteran players on the Discord. He's got a similar army comp from what I recall, but with a little bit more archers. So he's got the heavy Gobbo archers here, a crap ton of Snaga Skirmishers, a couple of Cave Trolls, Cave Troll Drummers, got his own Blackback Mountain Berserkers, some crossbows, more Goblin archers, very much the missile force of the Misty Mountains here. More Snaga Skirmishers, some Gobbo Infantry. He's got some Snow Trolls hanging out over here as well. Oh, wow. There's just seemingly no end to his Goblin Horde, Goblin Infantry, and some Bolgs Champions. I think that is going to do for his army. Let's move on now to the third and final defending Misty Mountains force. This one's being commanded by Eclipse 2500. He's got some Blackback Mountain Berserkers here, heavy Gobbo Spears. I think he's got at least 2 companies of them. He's got some heavy Goblin Crossbowmen as well. Snaga Skirmishers. Look at the missile units. They are going to darken the skies. Black Uruks of the Mountain. More Gobbo Spears. Some upgraded Goblin Infantry. I think he's got at least 2 or 3 companies of them. Mountain Orc Berserkers. More Black Uruks. Got a Ballista here as well, which is going to be used to great effect in this battle. I can't wait to show you guys. And he's got a Goblin King's Bodyguard as well. So by far the more balanced, I would say, of the 2 forces. I think the Cannon Fodder is a little bit more heavy on the skirmishing quality, and of course Muffins is just heavy on skirmishers generally. So it'll be an interesting fight here. But that's going to do. That is going to do, Pig, for the defending armies. Let's go ahead and see what Isengard is bringing to the battle today. Across the river from the entrenched Misty Mountains forces, we have the host of Isengard, the first army being commanded by Inarius RH, which I believe means Rampaging Hobbits, one of the many and diverse clans on the official Third Age Reforged Discord. He has brought some Dunlending veterans, some Dunlending clansmen, Uruk-hai pikemen, a couple battalions here of Uruk-hai pikemen, a bunch of Uruk-hai crossbows as well, hiding in the tree line. Also got a large number of Uruk-hai infantry here as well. Looks like an Isengard Ballista has been brought to the field. Very powerful unit to bring in a river crossing. Extremely devastating siege weapon. Probably one of the better pieces of siege equipment in the game. Some Guards of Orthanc here. A very valuable support unit. Help keep some of the lower tier Isengard units in the fight for much longer. Got Nazakai, Trolls of the White Hand, and some Uruk-hai Berserkers. Oh yeah, what do you know? Alerts' hunting pack here as well. So some very, very advanced Isengard armies. Certainly more than enough quality there to give the Misty Mountains a run for their money. We've got another Isengard force here, commanded by Viper Action, which is just really fun to say. I like saying it. He's got some Uruk-hai infantry, Uruk-hai raiders, yet more Uruk-hai infantry. Get a good look at the raiders. I always love taking a moment to appreciate this model. Koma did an excellent job putting those guys together. Got some Uruk-hai pikemen here as well, Uruk-hai reavers. Did I see some crossbows? I did see some crossbows. Trolls of the White Hand, Uruk-hai Berserkers, more Nazakai, and some Alerts' hunting packs. So a very similar elite core for these the last two armies. Got some half-orc Baneguard here to mix it up a little bit. An Isengard Ballista, bunch of Uruk-hai reavers, and some Uruk-hai archers in support as well. Moving on now to the third Isengard army. This one commanded by Arsal Ali. He's brought some Uruk-hai archers and some crossbows. Very strong skirmishing force here, but most of the Isengard forces that I've seen so far have been quite balanced between their skirmish and their close quarters potential. A lot of Uruk-hai pikemen here, forming the center of his line, and some upgraded Uruk-hai infantry. Going to be excellent troops for pushing through the choke point there on the river against the Misty Mountains. They've got quality, they've got armor, they've got good shield value, and good damage as well. They've really got it all, but they do come with a quite expensive price tag. Got some Berserkers here. I think maybe... No, just one unit of Berserkers. Also some Nazakai, Champions of the White Hand, and some Trolls of the White Hand. Moving on now to the fourth and final army of Isengard. This one being commanded by the last of the Tuatha De Danann. I can't say that. I don't speak Celtic. But he's got some Champions of the White Hand, Uruk-hai Reavers, a gaggle even of Uruk-hai infantry. He's got some Warg Riders here as well, one unit of them. Uruk-hai Berserkers, Nazakai, Pikemen. He's got some Rangers here as well. No, some Uruk-hai Raiders, however. Crossbows. Some more Uruk-hai skirmishing units there in the form of the archers, and the Trolls of the White Hand. I think that's pretty well it. This is a very, very large-scale battle. I hope you guys are ready for this, because this is as bloody as it gets. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the battle. I hope you guys enjoy it. And as soon as the gate opens, the Uruk-hai are going to take some aggressive steps to begin to harangue their goblin cousins across the river. A lot of halberd and a lot of polearm infantry here, which is a great place for them to be. They can make a very stable line surrounding this choke point here, which is going to be difficult for even the Uruk-hai to penetrate without a lot of help and overwhelming force. However, there is something to be accounted for here, and that is the Isengard Ballista, which is already winding up its next shots. They are very accurate, and their AoE is spectacular, far larger than you'd expect from a ballista unit. And I think their first victim of the day is going to be this catapult. It is certainly within range of the siege equipment, given the elevation of that particular piece of ballista. I think that they can probably hit the catapult from here. It's probably evened out the range differential quite significantly. Got some goblin infantry here, immediately moving into the fort to try and harangue the Uruk-hai archers and not just give them easy access to the river where they can shoot the goblins with impunity. What do we have here? Looks like some reinforcements in the form of the Uruk-hai Reavers. Oh, and there goes the catapult. Let's see what it's going to get. Of course, it's going for the artillery. It's a bit of a gamble, though. Catapult is not very accurate. Let's see what the Isengard Ballista has to say about this. Oh, is it going to get off another shot before the catapult here manages to wind up with another volley? Looks like cannon fodder might recognize the danger that he's in, but bam! Down goes one of those catapults. And it's going to take some of the hidden Snaga skirmishers with them as well. Oh, look at that. Look at that gigantic bolt. No wonder that catapult fell apart like so much firewood. Can get another shot here? Perhaps just... Yeah, one more. Here they come. Ooh. That was a very near thing indeed. That second one stopped just short of hitting this catapult here from behind. So the catapult unit from cannon fodder crippled in the early game. Not a lot of volume of fire going to be coming out of that catapult any longer. Let's see what we got here. The Goblin Infantry have retreated to the other side, but the Uruk-hai Reavers, fearless and reckless, have pursued them to the other side of the river. There's some supporting volleys from the Uruk-hai archers who have taken up their position again on the other side of the river. And they're helping to thin out the ranks of the goblins here as the Uruk-hai Reavers charge in and get their axes wet. Let's see what we got here. The halberd line from the Misty Mountains holding their ground. So far they have no reason to want to abandon this very strong defensive position. But as those missiles begin to pour in, and now that the artillery piece has been driven from the field, I think that we might see the... Oh yes indeed. The Isengard Ballista has taken notice of this Goblin Spear Wall, and is picking it apart in spectacular fashion. That's going to be tough. This is a very good defensive position, and one that it does seem a shame to abandon, but hard choices have to be made here, and I think that cannon fodder is already in the process of beginning to fall back with these halberd units, who are just easy prey for the Goblin Halberds. And of course he's got a hidden second line here of the Mountain Orc Berserkers, which the Isengard players know nothing about. So when it comes to holding down this fort and resuming position with his heavy Goblin Halberds, he will have that option moving in to this game. Goblin Infantry here doing their best. The Uruk-hai Reavers are holding out admirably. And honestly, the Goblin Infantry, I don't think are expected to get a lot of kills, but they are going to slow these guys down, soften them up a little bit. We could bring even a unit or two of archers would be enough to shut down these Uruk-hai Reavers and prevent Isengard from getting a solid foothold on the other side of the river. But it seems like the Goblin players have decided to go a different route. The hidden second line has now been mobilized and is falling back, and I think they're going to give the Uruk-hai units, or the Uruk-hai players, a little bit of rope here. You can see that they're still not very far away from the choke point there, and they're nice and spread out. So they will be able to bottle up the Uruk-hai, but they're not going to be quite as vulnerable to the Isengard Ballista, which you can already see moving forward. And you can imagine the amount of damage that it could cause to a bunched up Goblin battle line right here at the mouth of this river crossing. That would be ugly indeed. Let's see here. It looks like Isengard is going to take the bait here. They're the ones that have to attack, so they really don't have a choice either way. They're going to come over in force and try and get themselves a solid foothold on the river. I think that given the amount of missile units that they have here, if they can force a conventional field battle, then Isengard can win this hands down. But it doesn't seem like the Goblins are going to give them an opportunity. Got an expendable wave of fodder units here. The Goblin Infantry charging into battle against the Uruk-hai Reavers, who, fresh off their victory over the first company of Goblin Infantry, have recklessly charged into this advancing wave of goblins, and they're doing pretty well. However, look at this. Now the goblins have an opportunity to envelop them here, and the Uruk-hai Reavers are not going to fare so well in this second bout. Lucky for them, lots of help is already on the way, although these Uruk-hai archers seem to have flown a little bit too close to the sun here. And now Eclipse is going to have an opportunity to disrupt their supporting units with an expendable unit of Goblin Infantry. And this could be a problem if the Isengard players continue to play like this. Now, having these support units over here is obviously something that's very useful, but they've gotten way too far ahead of the defending units here that could have prevented these goblins quite easily and routed them off very quickly from getting in there and getting a piece of those Uruk-hai archers. Ooh, meanwhile, over here, something else that those Uruk-hai infantry could have prevented was the complete destruction of these Uruk-hai Reavers. Both champions saw an opportunity, they took it, and to devastating effect. And now the Goblin Infantry have the run of the place. They're going to be able to move in, bog down the Urukai, and that it can only play into the hands of the goblins who invested so much into their ranged units in this game, which is very wise. They can't beat the Urukai in close quarters. All they need to do is bog them down and shower them with AP missiles, which is something that the Urukai cannot abide. No one really can, but the Urukai in particular, because of their reliance on their armor, it's not a good thing for them. Now Nork Berserkers charging in there and clashing with the half-orc Bane Guard. Meanwhile, catapult shots, flaming balls flying overhead as darts from both sides rain into the opposing bodies of enemy infantry. This is going to be a hell of a fight. Both sides have numbers. Both sides are number-focused factions. Isengard a little bit less so. Well, this is going to be slaughter. This is the Battle of the Somme. And we have here, Bolg's champions being very aggressive indeed, pushing deep into the Urukai. Going Bolg's deep, if you will. Oh, it's disgusting, but I love it. Bolg's champions trying to pull out, but I don't know if it's going to work. Some of their numbers did get stuck in there, and now they are going to be dragged down into oblivion, to whatever awaits the orcs after death. Probably nothing. The London clansmen moving in to stiffen the line with weight of numbers, but it seems like we've got a mass rout here, thanks to those fire arrows. Oh, look at that. Beautiful volleys there coming in from the supporting goblin units, and look at the distance here. The goblin players absolutely know what they're doing. They have a strategy together as a team, and they are executing it very, very well. This is a really nice combination here as well, that they've chosen to bog down the Urukai. Mount Nork Berserkers, armor piercing, they do not break, and then of course we've got the numbers of the goblin infantry to prevent the goblin berserkers from falling away too quickly. Ooh, and they are pressing the Isengarders very hard. The half-orc Bane Guard going toe-to-toe with them. But the lightly armored nature of the Mount Nork Berserkers does diminish the value of their AP somewhat. Perhaps the half-orc Bane Guard should have been saved for something a little bit more valuable. We got over here Cave Troll Drummers coming by to make sure that the goblin infantry stay in the fight. And the Isengarders have no choice but to pour more infantry into this point and try and overwhelm the goblins. And so far they seem to be doing quite well, reasonably well at least. Ooh, an Isengard Ballista trying to get a piece. Possibly the goblin infantry, but it might be trying to snipe out the cave trolls. It's an important supporting unit if they can be brought low. And that's a big loss for the goblins, who traditionally have quite low armor. And the Isengarders are beginning to wrap around the goblins, and it's only a matter of time before they crush them with the weight of their numbers and their comparatively high quality. Still, though, the goblin infantry, thanks to the presence of those cave trolls, they're not given an inch. Not willingly. Another beautiful volley of those deadly fire arrows as they zing in here. Urukai infantry have now joined the fight. This is a great place and a great time to commit a unit like that. There's a great opportunity here for a breakthrough. And like I said, if Isengard can get a solid breakthrough and push through the Misty Mountain forces and force a field battle, they can win through numbers and quality alone. And I think the Misty Mountain players recognize this. Certainly Cannon Fodder does, moving in now with his heavy goblin halberds. They need to... Ooh, that was nasty. A lot of friendly fire there too, but really nobody came out the winner. But the goblin players know that they need to keep Isengard bottled up. It's their only hope for survival in this kind of situation. Now the goblin halberds have joined the fray. A second company moving over to the wings, where Isengard is swiftly overwhelming the goblin vanguard. And they're going to move in and stiffen the goblin presence on the left and right wings. Ooh, decent shot there from the catapult. It's only got one catapult that it can shoot at a time, however, which will improve its longevity substantially, but not so much its burst damage. What do we got here? Looks like some Urukai archers have been brought onto the opposite bank, presumably as a support unit. More goblin infantry moving in alongside the heavy goblin halberds. The Gobos going for numbers here, of course. But with the presence of the Urukai pikemen, that's a big deal. There's nothing in this goblin lineup, even in the entire armies, that can really go toe-to-toe with a pike unit and match them in terms of range. But luckily, the goblins have a great trick up their sleeve. Look at this. Ballista has lost one of its number, but it is perfectly positioned to be an absolute nightmare for the Isengard forces. And look at this. Look at the value that it is getting with that enfilading fire. This is just beautiful. Terrible if you're the Isengard player. Absolutely not what you want to see. But nonetheless, a fine piece of positional play. Yeah, the Isengarders aren't liking this. Now with those fire arrows moving in, morale could begin to waver. You could see another mass rout. More reinforcements. The Unletting Clansmen have now begun to break. Ooh, another vicious shot. What is Isengard gonna do about it? There's gotta be something. They've got their Isengard ballista, and they have turned their attention over to the Misty Mountain side of the river. They managed to claim another one of the ballistas. So the artillery for the Misty Mountains it will be able to fire much longer, but it's not gonna have the rate of fire that's the three, or the volume of fire, of course, that three artillery pieces can offer it. Ooh, and now Isengard is clapping back with some ballista enfilading fire of their own, melting that goblin wing. Look at the devastation. One more? Please, one more? Oh, hell yeah. Boom! Look at those goblins. Fry and die. Done like chicken dinner. More reinforcements moving in now to support the pike wall. There's a bit of an issue here, I think, in that they're getting very blobbed up in the center, but there's not as much pressure being put on the wings here, and there's a great opportunity, I think, for a breakthrough. Oh, and they realize it, and they're going for it with the Uruk Reavers. They just need to be careful. There are some roving bands of both missile units and, of course, cavalry that can be used to shut down the Reavers quite handily. And there you go. Those Goblin Halberds from Cannon Fodder have broken, and Misty Mountains is in danger of being swept away here. Reinforcements are definitely needed, and let's see if they are being mobilized. Indeed they are. I got some Snaga skirmishers moving forwards, some heavy goblin crossbows, but infantry and just boots on the ground, bodies to throw in the way of the Isengard meat grinder are what's needed here most of all, I think. Cave Troll Drummers joining the fray. It's a valuable unit to risk in this fashion, though. Bolts champions. Dangerous. Dangerous to get that close to the Reavers, who have pike support and close attendance. So we've got some Warg Riders here moving in to try and contest the field with the Warg Riders from the Misty Mountains, but I don't think now's the right time for this. The Warg Riders could be very effective in securing the back lines and allowing a push to be able to move forward without fear of being run down by the Bolts champions. But as it is right now, they're kind of sitting ducks, and there's not enough infantry to really make a good push here. So I think this is certainly a misuse of the unit. Well, that being said, they are going to go after the Snaga skirmishers. Not a bad target at all. But they are extremely vulnerable. Goblin infantry, Bolts champions from behind, numbers, and of course the fear effect from the Cave Troll Drummers who are nearby. Looks like one of the Misty Mountains generals just went down. That could be catastrophic for the Misty Mountains morale. Oh, look at those trolls getting stuck in there. The Warg Riders holding on, though. Doing reasonably well. Yeah, they're giving it to the goblins. I would almost even leave them here and let them expire in a glorious fashion. Yeah, because pulling them out, one, it's not really an option, and two, it is going to make them feel attacked from behind, which is going to have a very, very strong effect on their morale. So we could see them begin to rout here, and indeed we do. And because they're routing through a unit of halberds, that's going to be game over for the heavy goblin, or for the Warg Riders from Isengard. Reinforcements are coming, but again, we are seeing them be a little bit scattered. They are coming reasonably in the nick of time, and they're not waiting too long to send them, but they're also not sending them, I don't think, at the right time either. It's not as coordinated, at least in comparison to the Misty Mountains play that we've seen so far, where everyone moved back together, it's obvious that they have a plan, but Isengard seems to be trying to just brute force this, which it is a river battle. That is more or less what you're trying to do here, but the wave tactics are going to be what wins them this fight. And of course, applying of overwhelming pressure at the right moment so that they can get through the lines and sweep away much of the Goblin forces here and get themselves into a fight that's more to Isengard's strengths. Conventional field battles certainly are something that they are quite strong at, and being bottled up like this and being peppered on all sides by endless hordes of Snaga skirmishers, that is not going to be the place where the Isengarders want to be. So they want to avoid a situation where they are bottlenecked and massacred, but so far they have not been able to do that. Well, that being said, a massive influx here of Uruk-hai infantry straight through the center of the Goblin lines. This could be everything that's needed. And there are some supporting units nearby and some pikes, but it's just not as coordinated as I think it needs to be. This needs to be a massive coordinated breakthrough that just pushes through all at the same time. Ooh, a nice shot there from cannon fodder's catapults. The Isengarders are not enjoying that at all. Yeah, now they're just getting bunched up and bogged down. They have the opportunity to break through here, but they're just not able to capitalize on it. Let's see what our percentages are at. Very, very close, nonetheless. Line breakers being brought forward here. Hopefully this pulls Isengard out of the bog that Misty Mountains has forced them to fight in. Oh, White Uruk Fearmongers now a very stabilizing influence thanks to their Inspire effect. I don't think that this choke point is going to be broken through anytime soon. Not now. Ooh, look at this. Just look at the chaos on the field here. Let's just sweep across. And it's just devastating for both sides. Thousands dead. This is truly hell on earth for the orcs. More and more Isengarders pouring in. And the reinforcements don't seem to be about to stop. And let's just look at what Isengard's got left over. A lot. There's still a lot of troops here left on Isengard's side of the river. And yet more over there on the wing. Misty Mountains, however, in a similar position. You can see how the percentages are quite similar to one another. Oh, look at this. Bolg's champions being brought to bear, trying to stymie the efforts of the Isengarders to get a solid foothold so they can move a larger force across. Uruk-hai pikemen here clashing with the Uruk Fearmongers. Destruction on both sides, and the Uruk-hai pikemen seem to be getting the worst of this. Although I would expect the casualties to begin to mount from the Uruk Fearmongers as the pikemen are able to attack with just much more volume. They've got higher range, so there's more ranks attacking all at once. Yeah, the Fearmongers are really taking it on the chin there. Ooh, Berserkers have been brought to bear across the river, trying to break through here. And they're going to side their way through the Goblin Spears, but with all that missile support, it might not be quite so simple. Snaga skirmishers being bogged down by the derpy trolls of the White Hand. Trust me, they look way nicer in 0.97. They're very strange right here. The Snaga skirmishers don't have a chance in hell. These guys are going to just mulch them like it's nothing. Mountain Orc Berserkers and these heavy goblins are actually being pressed in the rear by a few stray trolls of the White Hand. More forces are pouring in. And the Isengarders, again, it's hanging in the balance here, but they have an opportunity, I think, to with the forces at their command on this side of the river. They have an opportunity here for a breakthrough. They've certainly got the numbers and they've got the strength. This battle hinges on how well the missile troops are able to be used and for how long. More Uruk-hai infantry pushing in. These ones with armor upgrades. And the goblins are looking pretty thin on the ground. Ooh, nasty. Some rotten meat being thrown at the Uruk-hai. Oh, devastating. Looks like a couple nasty volleys here from the Uruk-hai ballista. Maybe we're gonna get one more here. Oh, devastating. Oh, that's actually gonna cut off some of the Uruk-hai infantry there as well. Bit of friendly fire, but The damage that's done to this left wing here for the Misty Mountains is obviously very noticeable. And the Misty Mountains begins to thin out again, although in the center, some weight of numbers have been added by some Snaga skirmishers who are clearly out of ammunition. Just look at this. Just look at the refuse all over the ground. Orcs burning, dying on each side by the hundreds. It's beautiful. I love battles like this. We got some goblin units routing off. Goblins are not immune to the horror of this battle. Look at the damage that the just look at all of these Snaga skirmishers. It's just so nasty. This is so hard for the Uruk-hai to have to fight through, but it is definitely a testament to their ferocity and their prowess and the training that they've received from Saruman, that they are able to stand and fight under such circumstances. More reinforcements coming forward, and some more fearsome trolls of the White Hand. Another wave pressing into the goblins, who are beginning to get exhausted. And do my eyes deceive me? No, indeed. We have some Nazaghai. Very important unit for applying pressure in the right place at the right time. What do we have here? A lot of braking. A lot of braking, it seems. Now the Uruk-hai Center is dangerously exposed to an envelopment. And the goblins are pressing forward. You can see the halberds here from Eclipse of the Dark Cloud pressing into the Uruk-hai, looking to surround them. Uruk-hai aren't going to let it happen quite so easily, though. And they are poised to break through over here. The Goblin Archers are the only thing standing in their way. And if they can crush them quickly, then they'll be able to get into the soft, squishy center of the Misty Mountains army. A lot of these Snaga skirmishers here in particular. Oh, and look at this. They'd be able to disrupt this whole line here. This just devastating firing squad that Misty Mountains has set up. They need to break through and disrupt this missile fire. It is absolutely imperative. Ooh, more damage being done here to the goblins as they press forward. That Isengard Ballista is certainly making its presence felt. Now the trolls of the White Hand have arrived on scene. And another wave of goblin reinforcements has moved forward. Seemingly endless numbers from both sides. I knew this was going to be a cool battle. The trolls of the White Hand doing their best to thin out the herd. Just look at the destruction here. It's hard to tell who's got the worst of it, but so far it's been the Uruk-hai. 6% is not too much, and a lot of the disparity there is going to be the goblin numbers, which are, of course, of far lesser quality than the Uruk-hai. Uruk-hai crossbows have been brought over. They're coming under some pretty heavy fire. There's not really any juicy targets for them, except perhaps maybe some of the other crossbowmen. Ooh, and speaking of, I didn't see these guys. These guys will have had a devastating effect on the Uruk-hai. Trolls of the White Hand charging in, heavy goblin crossbowmen. Getting a little bit of support from the snow trolls over there, and it looks like the troll vanguard that's been held in reserve for just such an occasion has now been mobilized. It looks like these are the trolls of FFA Muffins moving in to counter the push of the trolls of Isengard. Look at this. Look at the destruction. It is hard to get this out of a lot of other Total War titles, but damn is this cool. Just the numbers and the scale and the weight of combat, I absolutely love it. This is Total War for sure. Beautiful charge there by those cave trolls. And the Uruk-hai are kind of at a loss here. They don't have the numbers, they don't have the quality to stop these cave trolls that have been brought to bear against a pressure point. This is where the Uruk-hai were thinnest. And now we're seeing some more breaking from them here. Luckily more reinforcements are on the way, but again, not here at the right time. Looks like some champions of the White Hand have been brought in. They're going to charge into the rear of some of these cave trolls. There goes one of them. Champions of the White Hand are fearsome. Certainly a match for cave trolls, especially bloodied cave trolls in close combat. Now, this is maybe not the place where they want to be. I'd probably have them on the other side where they can be a pain for these goblin crossbowmen. And there's not really a lot that could have stopped them, so I think that's certainly a mistake If they were going to go this side, they needed to go in force with all of the champions of the White Hand from their entire team and not just one unit, which, as you can see, is easily isolated and pressured by a very large commitment here, in fact, from the Misty Mountains players. Look at the troll. Look at this goon squad just bearing down on that one unit of champions of the White Hand. Now down to 22. They've barely got any damage done at this point. This was a fresh unit. But they're just so easily zoned out when they're on their own. So a little bit more coordination needed on the part of the Isengarders. Everything's going in the center, and it looks like Blacker Rooks of the Mountain have been brought forward. And the last of the Isengarders on this side of the river are being swiftly cut down. Looks like we got some Uruk-hai archers still with ammunition being thrown in. I don't know why. Oh, now we're starting to see some real quality come across the river. Guards of the Orthanc, Berserkers, more champions of the White Hand. Oh, Lurtis hunting pack. Looks like they're out of ammunition. Oh, and some more Nazakai as well. Apparently the first wave wasn't effective. Another unit of Nazakai and some trolls of the White Hand. This is Isengard putting a lot of their chips on the table. Just look at the chaos. It's hard to tell where battle lines begin and end. Missiles pouring in from each side. Some of the best troops from Misty Mountains and Isengard clash against one another. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Imagine two companies of the White Hand doing this. This would have been almost unrecoverable for the Misty Mountains if the other unit of the champions of the White Hand had been brought over here. Where the hell are they? Yeah, but instead they've had to just run away the entire time. This is definitely very poor use of an expensive unit here by the last of the Tuatha De Danann. But let's pop back on over to the other side where things seem to be going swimmingly for the champions of the White Hand. They are hacking their way through goblin crossbowmen, through Snaga skirmishers. Looks like they might be going after these goblin crossbows over here as well. That being said, they have left themselves exposed in the rear by these Snaga skirmishers. I probably would have gone to the Snaga skirmishers or maybe helped out in the infantry fight. Tried to break some of these guys rather than chasing that unit of crossbows. It's a pretty small unit of crossbows too. Oh, an opportunity here, but it looks like Arsala Ali is disinclined to capitalize on it. It's not, I guess it's not hard to blame him. There is a screen here of heavy goblin spears, but this is the fight that matters. Absolutely. Killing a few companies of the Snaga skirmishers won't matter if the rest of them are able to be used against the infantry. So I think this is where the champions of the White Hand need to be used the most. But unfortunately, looks like they're gonna fall prey to the same mistake, where there's one unit of them and they're easily isolated, and they're just gonna be forced to run away the whole time. It's not worth it. Nazakai now in the fight against the thin line of the goblins of the Misty Mountains. But these guys need someone to cover for them. With all these missile units, they definitely need somebody to take those punches so that they can get their work done. I mean, conventionally, yes, the Nazakai and all that other stuff are enough to hack their way through what's here, but the main danger of the Misty Mountains forces isn't their infantry in this case. It's their missile units. And those units are making all the difference. We've just seen a constant stream of missiles flying in here, and the result for Isengard has been devastating. 73-70. This battle is well and truly underway. The Isengarders have managed to bring it back a little bit, but another wave of Misty Mountains infantry rushing their way towards the mouth of the river crossing. And I think that was the end of the first company of Champions of the White Hand, and that means that the Isengard general has fallen in battle. Well, some crossbowmen out of ammunition being thrown in here. A bit of a desperation ploy, perhaps. There's still a fair amount of the Isengarders left over, but not nearly as much as there were. That being said, the Misty Mountains are looking quite worse for wear. Their once mighty host is down now to maybe 10 units. But how those 10 units get used are going to make all of the difference here. Isengard still has a pretty good hold on this side of the river. Even with the reinforcements, it will take some time to sweep them away. And of course, Isengard is already on their way with yet more of their elite Urukai battalions. Misty Mountains are going to have to move quickly if they want to clear the field of these remaining Urukai. Ooh, just disgusting. These Urukai are under so much pressure, but they're remaining relatively calm. So the Goblin King's bodyguard I see joining the fray. Indeed it is. What we have here? More pikemen. Any more elites from Isengard? Doesn't look like it. Another one of the Isengard generals has fallen. Dead by Snaga as well. What an embarrassing way to go. Blackback Mountain Berserkers here managed to shut down the Nazakai, but at great cost. About 50 or so of their men have died. Isengard pikes moving in. They're going to make quick work of a lot of these Misty Mountain units here in melee. But still, those missiles are pouring in, evening the odds. It's not like the Isengarders don't have missiles of their own, but they are at a bit of a disadvantage here. They have a positional disadvantage, certainly, but fighting in a river choke point like this has also increased their fatigue rate by quite a lot. There's a bunch of things here working against the Isengard missile units. Ooh, it's starting to get real choppy. Zoom out a little bit. Another wave of Black Ruruks and a full company of Heavy Goblin crossbows moving forward. Still got some Blackbacks prowling around. Heavy Goblin spears from Eclipse moving forward. Isengard's in. They're in trouble, even with the reinforcements. They're really struggling here. What do we got? Looks like the last of the Urukai infantry. A lot of crossbows here. Still some elites on the other side. But I think with the arrival of reinforcements, these Urukai are going to be swept from the field, and that's going to account for most of the line infantry that Isengard had at their disposal. 82 to 78. Still very close all the way along. Misty Mountains have done admirably well so far. They have been coordinated. They had a plan going into this game, and that is apparent. Whereas the Isengarders, they've played well. They've put the right units in the right places, but the timing has been off. And they haven't been able to accomplish what I think should have been their goal the entire game, and that was to effect a breakthrough and force the Misty Mountains to fight on their terms. But instead, they've been because of that failure, they've been pushed into playing the Misty Mountains game, and the Misty Mountains are playing it very well. Well, this could be where the breaking begins to happen. Using their numbers and their trolls to push through and surround the last of the Urukai. Misty Mountains has broken this battle line and blunted the Isengard assault. That being said, there are still a lot of the Urukai crossbows left, and a lot of the skirmishers left as well. So it could be that Misty eventually gets the same treatment that they've been giving Isengard the whole game. And the crossbows have pretty good morale as well, and they're not slouches in melee. They're decent infantry. Well, of course, that's not going to save them against cave trolls and Black Ruruks of the mountain. And I think Isengard realizes the kind of trouble that they're in. They're going to begin to fall back across the river. One of these Snaga skirmishers looks like they might get caught up in the rout. I think some Urukai archers are being brought forward as a sort of a sacrificial lamb to keep some of the more important Isengard units intact as they retreat across the river. And now this Isengard rear guard is going to give their lives to give the rest of the skirmishers the opportunity to set up on the other side of the river. And whether or not Misty Mountains actually pushes across to the other side remains to be seen. But these Urukai archers, their sacrifice has not been in vain. They've given the Urukai and the Snaga an opportunity to fall back to the other side of the river. And it looks like there's still some surprises yet to come. Urukai Berserkers and another battalion of Nazakai have been kept quite wisely in reserve by Arsal Ali and not thrown into the meat grinder. And now the Urukai have set themselves up on the other bank Unfortunately, the Uruk-hai archers could hold on no longer. Now the Misty Mountains is going to come storming across to the Isengard side of the river. We might have time for maybe 1 or 2 quick volleys. But it's not going to be enough here, I think, to thin out this tide of Misty Mountains forces. And it looks like Misty Mountains is going all in here as well. Snaga skirmishers, fearmongers, trolls, all kinds of things flooding across the river, looking to bring the fight to their enemies this time. A nice countercharge here by the Nausicaa. Getting stuck in against Goblin King's bodyguard, against all manner of horrors from the Misty Mountains. And then Berserkers are, of course, in here as well, although they are a little bit isolated from the Nausicaa. They're not going to be able to get in there and support them as effectively as I think they needed to. And now the Misty Mountains, they know how to play this game. They've already begun to push forward and try and disrupt some of the battalions of skirmishers that the Isengarders have. And the Isengarders are suffering from a bit of a problem here in that they put a lot of eggs into a single basket. Unlike the Misty Mountains, they are not spread out over a wide area. They're trying to defend a smaller area, which has necessarily compacted their skirmishers, making them far easier to disrupt. Just a single unit of Cave Troll Drummers here has disrupted 3 units of skirmishers that Arsal Ali desperately needs to stop this Misty Mountains push. This is a big positioning mistake on the part of Isengard. That being said, Misty Mountains very worse for wear, and Inarius is online with some of his crossbows as well. And I think there's a company of Snaga skirmishers over here who are well situated to really put the hurt on the Misty Mountains forces as they advance across the river. So that it might not matter that all these troops over here are so bunched up the way they are. The Berserkers holding out. It's hard for me to tell where the Nausicaa are. I think that they were swept away almost immediately. The Berserkers, however, are holding their ground well. Goblin King's bodyguards, White Uruk fearmongers, cave trolls, they will all fall to their swords. And of course the support from the nearby armor-piercing missile units doesn't hurt either. Sadly for Isengard, they don't have the numbers to cover all of the exits, and some of the Misty Mountains forces have managed to push their way through their cordon and begin to harass the very fragile Snaga skirmishers. Okay, crossbows dutifully firing despite a mountain troll over there giving them the business. Inarius really making his presence felt with well-positioned Uruk-hai over there. In addition to the Snaga skirmishers, Misty Mountains could be in trouble. They're definitely getting the same treatment that they were giving Isengard earlier. Perhaps, after all, this aggressive push wasn't in their best interest. What do we have here? Snaga skirmishers. Well, they might be used, but might see some Snaga on Snaga violence. Despite the numbers of Snaga units, it's surprising that we don't see that very often. A little bit ironic, even. These Snaga skirmishers just kind of sitting there. Not really doing a whole lot. The crossbows are going to tell them what they think of that, though. Do all of them have ammunition? I don't think that they all do. How are we doing back here? Oh, these crossbows are being defeated by small commando units. And this is why it was so important for the Nausicaa to manage to survive. They were holding down this area. I think maybe throwing them in there and not charging the Uruk-hai Berserkers in at the same time. It looks like a micro mistake, and it's one that has had a pretty strong impact on the way this game has played out so far. Uruk-hai Berserkers doing their best. And what do we have over here? Do my eyes deceive me? Oh my goodness. 18 champions of the White Hand. But again, out of the fight. Not where they need to be. Easily zoned out. More and more Misty units are pouring across as the cracks in the Isengard defense start to make themselves obvious. Those lower numbers. Well, there are some Nausicaa. I see 6 of them. But yeah, the small numbers of the Isengard infantry, it's starting to take its toll, and the Misty Mountains have overrun them. Just through sheer weight of numbers. What do we got over here? Blackback Mountain Berserkers. Chasing off some Snaga skirmishers. Okay, crossbows here. Running around in the back, not really able to be utilized effectively. At least over here on the left wing, Isengard has had a bit of a field day. I think Inarius is probably going to run out of ammunition if he keeps going much longer. What we got here? Uruk-hai crossbows rallying and just going for it. Arsala Ali, tired of playing the skirmish game, and charge in there with his Uruk-hai crossbows. Nice rear charge here against the heavy goblin crossbowmen as well. That could be enough to rout them. Although with the presence of the nearby Goblin King's bodyguard, probably not. And now those Uruk-hai crossbows are being sandwiched between a couple of units, but help is on the way. Inarius has run out of ammunition, and he's now charging in here against the heavy goblin crossbows. And the advance units of the Orcs of the Misty Mountains that managed to cross the river, they are being pincered. And they might not be able to survive for too much longer. And there we go. We got some breaking here. A huge amount of crossbows being swiftly dealt with. The other company over here routing as well. If only those Champions of the White Hand were nearby. But it seems like Cannon Fodder, or rather Eclipse, has the only entrance locked down. And Arsala Ali is trapped with that important cavalry unit, which could be winning him this fight, by the way. He's trapped on the other side of the river, although, at second glance, the Uruk-hai crossbows don't look like they need the help. They are numerous, they are pretty decent, and there's actually 29 of the Berserkers left over. This might be a comeback here for Isengard. Isengard can win this fight. Uruk-hai Berserkers getting a nice charge against the Snaga skirmishers. Their fear-causing nature will probably cause these guys to run pretty quickly. Oh yeah, those skirmishers are not enjoying this at all. I see some Nausicaa in there. And now the crossbows could be everything it takes to carry this fight. Ooh, and Arsala Ali has set himself up here for a really nice hammer and anvil. He's going to want to be careful. He doesn't want to... Yes. Very good. Oh, no, he's turning around. No, they were prepared, and they were ready. This was not a smart time to engage with the Nausicaa. You need to wait until they were very much pinned by the crossbows before charging in there. And there goes Arsala Ali's general. Still, it's not over. I still got a lot of those champions left over, 9 or so of them. And if they can get one good hammer and anvil strike against these heavy goblin spears, then that's going to be all she wrote. I don't think there's any nearby general units. And these crossbows can't do it all by their lonesome. It seems like... this is a huge mistake. Arsala Ali is actually falling back across the river. I mean, why at this point? It's not like he's trying to protect his general. His general just died. Get in there. Help the crossbows. Oh, now the crossbows are going to get pincered. He's not really doing anything with them. They're just kind of sitting there. This might be Arsala Ali just throwing his team under the bus. Like, this is a fight that he can win. Why is he being so conservative and cautious? The worst has already happened. There's no point in just staying across the river. Where are the... Ooh, the Berserkers are definitely needed here. More Goblin King's bodyguard moving in now. Those crossbows on the verge of routing, and they're gonna rout. And these guys just sat there and watched. Like, I don't know what he was thinking, but that might have just lost his team the game. Like, single-handedly, Arsala Ali might have just thrown his entire team under the bus. Berserker's going for it. Now he's going to try, but if the crossbows and the Berserkers were fighting together, this would be a very different story. Oh, Eclipse is going to turn around there, and last moment the Champions of the White Hand are going to pull out. Oh, some crossbows. There's some hope here. There's some Snaga skirmishers nearby as well. Like, this fight can still be won. Ooh, a nice charge there into the Heaven Goblin crossbows. That's going to be enough. He needs to wheel around and get a charge against these spears. I have to say, I'm not really all that impressed with how the Isengard players have used their wargs. They've been so conservative with them, and they've thrown them away, and then they've just refused to use them in fights where it's important to have them. And look at this. These guys are going off on an adventure to the middle of nowhere, and Arsal Ali is just watching his infantry die. Like, why do this? If I was on his team, I'd be very frustrated with this level of play. So they're going to go after the blackbacks. I mean, not a terrible idea, but these Snaga skirmishers could have done that while they chase the other Snaga skirmishers, and then he could be trying to pressure these goblin spears while he still has infantry left, but that is no longer the case. There goes the Isengard infantry. All that remains of them. And now what? Is he going to rely on Snaga to win this fight? It's not going to happen. Heavy Goblin crossbows have now come back. Oh, maybe assassinating the enemy general here would be enough, though. That's not a bad idea. Killed a good deal of them, I think. I mean, commit. Kill the general. Then you can scatter these guys. Maybe. What's he doing? Is he chasing down that goblin crossbows with Snaga? Unsupported, exhausted Snaga? This is just... I don't understand why you would do that. I assume they're out of ammunition, but I don't believe that these guys are. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll put an end to this. We're going to speed things up. Now those Snaga are routing off. I wonder if they'll come back. Oh, they did. That's a lucky thing for him. They're kind of being chased down by like a tiny little commando unit of blackbacks. They still cause fear, even if there's one of them. And now Arsal is going to pull those guys out, and they're going to rout, as you would expect. They might have held their ground long enough for the champions to get over there, but what are the champions doing? They're just out and about, just having a stroll. It's very, very frustrating to watch. Like, this is a fight that Isengard could have pulled off a miraculous comeback here, and that would have been amazing. But the level of play here from this final Isengard player has been quite low. And I know he's a newer player, so I don't want to pick on him too much, but this is a big mistake, and it's important to point out why, so that if you ever find yourself in this situation, you don't commit the same errors. What's going on over here? Snaga skirmishers trying to chase down those goblin spears. Not a bad idea. Soften them up a bit. But like, now what? Because these champions were off in La La Land and the other Snaga skirmishers, I think, were routed off, the Misty Mountains is a time to pull back to a position of strength. And they've saved their crossbows. Like, those crossbows could have died if the wargs were used against them, and then all he'd have to fight is a single unit of goblin spears, which the Snaga skirmishers could do pretty well against. Assuming they have ammunition, in the case. But yeah, Misty Mountains, I think they've been allowed to win this game. I think that's what we're going to see here, is a Misty Mountains win. A near thing. It's 97-97. It's a very close game. Nice, nice. Yeah, these Snaga skirmishers doing their job, but there's nothing nearby to support them. Where are the wargs? Oh, they're right there. Way too far back. And now these goblin units are creeping forward, and the crossbows are returning fire, and they're gonna get routed off. Like, what is he thinking? Oh, down to the final about 1,000 or so frames, about 1,500 frames left. Let's see if maybe Arsal Ali can pull off a miracle here. If he could assassinate this general, like if his wargs were nearby, he might have been able to catch that general out. Although, of course, the general might not have come forward if the wargs were nearby, but still. Oh, there we go. A chance here. This is do or die. And they're going to charge right by the general and go into the spears instead. I just don't understand the logic there. And I think that's it for Isengard. There you go, the end of the replay. Still a fun game to watch. A little bit frustrating near the end there, because it seems like the Isengard player Arsalali kind of just gave up hope. There was a lot of decisions there that probably shouldn't have been made, but hey, live and learn. That's part of the reasons why these videos are so much fun. Well, let's take a look at casualties. I know people love that. A nice even spread all across Eclipse's army. Nothing that really stands out. Cannon Fodder's crossbowmen, however, did really well. 300 kills, 237 on the other unit. Berserkers did well. Fearmongers did really well. Some of the Berserkers not quite as well. And what do we got here? Volk's Champions did alright. Cave Trolls. Troll units got an okay amount of kills. Snog Skirmishers and the Archers, though, from Muffins did some serious work there. That's a lot of his kill percentage localized in his skirmish units alone. 263 on another unit there. Like, that's huge. That's a lot of dead Urukai. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Definitely a learning experience. It's good to be back doing some Reforged replays. It'll be a little while before I do the next one, just because there's, well, actually no, maybe it won't, because there's a new build on the test patch coming out, so maybe you'll see some new content from that. I know that there's at least one new minor faction that you guys have probably never seen coming that will be available for you guys to watch some battles with pretty soon. Oh yeah, and it's neither Dorwinian nor is it any of the other factions we've announced so far. It's totally brand new. So that's kind of cool. This is why you should watch my videos to the end. Anyways, my name is Jordan, also known as JMonster. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.